Chapter 6. It was not so much that Starscream gave up the chase that he found himself distracted. Near the alien vessel, nor the puny organic creatures. On board, he had made a move to intervene in his ongoing skirmish. With Bumblebee, indeed, they had shown no interest in it at all. Hovering high above, he made a choice. Interrogation of the interfering member, Autobot could wait a little later. At the moment, he found himself more and more drawn to the inexplainable alien visitor. A Greek but through scans confirmed through the rough design was in fact somewhat driven from Cybertronic sources, but the technology has been used to build it was extremely primitive. The alloy that was the principal component of the vessel hull unsustainable. A single blast from his pulse cannons would in all likelihood reduce to the back-end scrap. Still, his curiosity was piqued, considering unsustainably crude origins. How had it come here in the distant and uninhabited place? Plainly, these life forms understood a little about the basic of advanced mechanoid technology. Reviewing the details of his scan, Starscream realized that he could interfere with their laboratory computer system, though he would have carefully moderate the speed at which the transmitted data or risk overloading the entire system. Knowledge is one of the pillars of power. How can all these field organics could have possibly entered Megatron and survived long enough not to study his design, but actually adapt to their ends? What did he know about the long missing leader of the Decepticons? And most important, how could he may turn any information of his own advantage? As he scanned inside the ship, it was apparent that the organic life forms were in a panic for his presence. They had weapons, not that they believed they could seriously harm him with them, but no one can never be certain. Lower life forms can be surprisingly devious. So far, they had not attacked it. It was possible that they realized how overmatched they were and had no desire to provoke a fight. On the basis alone, he was willing to credit them for a minimal intelligence. Of course, lower life forms did not have a monopoly or deviousness. Getting information about them, for an example, would be faster, easier, and more efficient if he could convince them to share it willingly. While he could extract that he wished for their tiny onboard data bank, drawing information would from sometimes be gelatin living beings could have been slow and messy. A plan to begin shape in his mind, and Starscream allowed himself for a moment amusement. Touching down nearby, he scanned the ship unprotected in terminal communication until he isolated the unbelievably simple programming. A moment or two was all that was required for him to download all the data in the onboard storage. It required several moments for him to process, analyze, and translate the basic for the unspeakable language. He revived his first message and intended to display on the internal visual monitors, and then sent it. Greetings. It is fortunate that I arrived when I did. The other creature you encountered would surely have destroyed you and your ship otherwise. That should do it, he decided, straight to the point and not too complex for the simple protein-based brains. It had been a long time since he had opportunity to apply time-honored Decepticon strategy. It is phenomenal life form. It felt good. Optimus stared out in the dark shapes were they making way towards the Ark from far side of the nearby moon. Silently, he cursed himself for not trusting his earlier hesitation. He should have been obvious from intentional sighting from the usual alien ship was a Decepticon trap, if not so stubble design. How else to explain obvious yet disordered Cybertron resemblance? When distress directionness failed, enemies often resorted to trickery. Usually, he could see it coming and untravel to ruse well in advance. This time he had dismissed his suspicions. Now a battle, with the Arcs and his friends once again at risk, seemed inevitable. How many times he had already faced the Decepticons and survived with his spark instinct? Too many to count, but every class exacted a price in energy, in patience, or worse still, in colleagues forever lost. Each battle made the Allspark seem more and more distant goal. The likelihood of finding it and restoring Cybertron is what had once had been a dream that was slowly finding the distance of time. They had spent a long searching for it sometimes. The search seemed to have become to an end unto itself. Moments like this made Optimus think it was a time for them to put the quest aside. Time for them to find a new home where they could live out a peaceful existence. The galaxy is all endless possibilities. Was simply too vast the place Allspark could have fetched up too many to make it continuing the search for realistic invaders. Drifting the next beneath looking below the arc. A watchful Jazz and gives leader a gentle nudge. At least Megatron was still in charge of some restraint. We knew he had to pick and choose the time to place for a fight. I'm starting to think that what that Starscream would destroy the Allspark itself and it meant finishing us off. You must be reading my thoughts, Optimus turned to his friends. The notion of having engaged the battle every time we exit back to normal space exhausts my patience. Ratchet, what do your scan shows? With Jazz having insisted on leaving the ship to face the Decepticon, Ratchet was now sole command of the Ark. With Ironhide covering his flank, Optimus felt that there was three of them were ready as they could be to face coming onslaught. He was restless, but not afraid. They had survived worst. No reports back yet from Bumblebee, Ratchet was telling them. You've got three Decepticons headed in your direction, analyzing the energy signatures. I'd say it's most likely it's Blackout, Bone Crusher, and Frenzy. And I've also got a lock on a Nemesis, but it was holding position at the moment. He paused, then added, not that I expect this to stay that way. Optimus, Honor Robot, we should attack now, for once. Let's strike the first blow rather than waiting for it to fall. The defense strategies we have repeatedly in the past becoming too familiar with our enemies. One day they'll find a means to overcome them. I know how you feel, Ironhide, Optimus concealed, but you know that it's not our way, and never can be. Once we succumb to temptation of first strike, we will mark ourselves as no better than the Decepticons. I'm just I'm just familiar with the old principles as you, Optimus, Ironhide responded. It is not that I disagree with them with you. His attention was directed onward, was anonymous, upcoming shapes. I'm just striking to consider that it might be any better than the Decepticons we inherited either. In any moment, neither. You will have to worry about the ability and precision. Ratchet interjected. Here they come. Squinting the approaching Decepticons, the approach silently to cross the void. Optimus strategy. Jazz, I want you to take Frenzy. Ironhide, you got Blackout. I'll deal with Bone Crusher. Everyone quietly voiced their understanding. Jazz mumbled something but always having to fight the little ones. Optimus smiled inwardly. His companions were detailed and supportive. He was proud to be their leader, proud to be one of them, unconscious of the trust he had placed in him. Although he had been a prime for many centuries, he could see that their confidence in him was still strong, even when the occasion they were based the dubious likelihood of their mission success. They had all suffered injury and loss. He admitted himself. They had the right to question him. As Iron had just done, even though there was significant failure that occurred through any fault of his. The seemingly endless quest was taking a toll of them all, mentally as well as physical. Perhaps Ironhide was right. Maybe it was time to alter tactics. He cleaned up at the Ark. Change of plans, he announced abruptly. Ironhide, you and Jazz go back to the ship. I know it doesn't carry that kind of firepower, but we do eventually at a transport. After all, but ready everything that you can. Were you listening? There's a teasing voice in Ironhide's voice. And while we secure the Ark, what you will be doing? He gestured towards the oncoming Decepticon. Keeping all the keeping all the insectment of yourself? Is that it? Optimus laughed. I'll be going to teach your impulsive friends a lesson. If that what you mean? Not without me. Jazz was insistent. I won't let you go out there alone. Optimus turned his companion to the smaller companion. Ironhide is right. Jazz, it's time that we approach things a little differently. Let me handle it this time. I'm tired of seeing my friends get hurt. You're not having all the fun without me, Jazz protested. Yes, I am. Optimus pointed up at the ship. Now get moving. If, if what if I had in mind plans out, I'm going to need both of you in the Ark. Grabbing Jazz by the arm, Ironhide started towards the hangar bay. Come on, Jazz. Optimus knows what he's doing, so let him do it. All right, Jazz muttered unhappily. A command's a command, but I don't have to like it. No, you don't, Ironhide agreed as he continued to haul his friends toward the ship. Optimus smiled to himself. The younger Autobot continued to argue even as he was half guided, half dragged into the Ark. For all the impulsive and flair, Jazz was a good soldier, and boon companion someday he would make a fine administrator. Someday in there was never anything to administrate. He turned away from the Ark and launched himself out into space. Nothing has in chance of position. The Decepticon immediately swooped to intercept. They also unloaded their combined weaponry, but in this extreme range, it could easily for him to evade incoming fire, which lead him for the ship. Keep moving, the Ratchet was transmitting. Optimus knew. We'll swing into the position to cover you. The Ark was in motion, maneuvering for the possible advantage while keeping the clear of the fighting. It was effortless to give Optimus a chance to return fire without compromising the room to evade. Weapons on the Ark opened up, and he heard Ratchet broadcast his personal battle cry. When the Decepticons adjusted to confront a new threat, Optimus unexpectedly rolled a shot directly in his attackers. As the massive figure of Bone Crusher closed the space between them, a small metal shape shot away from Blackout's body. Extending forward, a metal pincher reached for Optimus' chest plate. The much smaller Decepticon slammed it into the Autobot's leader. Scorponok! The Fitch's little mechanoid has been fully repaired since the last encounter, Optimus realized with the start. A frightened Decepticon multiple limbs were a visionized blur as he fought the penetrating Optimus' fertile plating. If Scorponok could cut his way past the armor to the system below, Optimus knew he would be in real trouble. Grabbing at his chest while continuing to declude his pursuers, he tried to work his hands beneath the federal metallic monstrosity. He managed to grasp at one of the pinchers and shove it away, twisting until the compact tendons within the metal began to fail. But assessing his advantage, he flung his other hands into his attacker's far less heavily armed, seized cavity, and tore furiously at the instruments of electronics within. Scorponok scrambled madly as he tried to escape. Optimus was happy to assist, flinging the Decepticons away from as hard as he could. The administration damaged. Scorponok went spinning through space, barely recovering enough to adjust his attitude so he could swing through the disparate arc away from a massive Autobot. In the distance, the Nemesis had finally begun to move, and a damaged Decepticon was struggling to head in this direction. Convinced to a smaller mechanoid was no longer a threat. Optimus turned